I'm Rebecca of Pocket Full of Posies. Today's project is my journey creating a pair of Regency stays, or Regency Corset, call it whatever you want, I don't care. And I wanted to make a wearable mock-up, so something that I could still use if I needed to, but that would be a project that could have a lot of trial and error. Mock-ups are always a great idea when you're making something you've never made before, and this is my first time making a Regency corset. There were trials and errors, and I learned a lot while I was making these stays, and I'm really excited to share that experience with you and to show you how they turned out. So without further ado, let's get started. Here we go. I used a pattern by the Mantua Maker. I traced out my pattern pieces and started laying them out on my interlining fabric. It's twill, and in hindsight I should have used canvas, but I didn't have any in a light color. Hercules wanted to be a pattern weight. I cut out the interlining. Hercules did not approve. Then I proceeded to cut out the linen lining and cotton outer layer. Pieces are cut out. Time to mark and cut gusset openings. Next, I pinned the interlining pieces together. Here's a little room update. We got my new shelves assembled and I organized my fabric and supplies. Loki likes having a cushion to sleep on. The next project is a new cutting table. I put my stays project away while we were putting up the shelves, so I got it back out and made sure no pieces were missing. I then sewed the interlining pieces together. Then I pinned in the gussets. Next, I sewed all of the gussets in the interlining layer. The instructions recommended adding a gusset on either side of the center front, halfway between the center front and the side gusset if you have a large stomach, which I do, so I did that. Loki needed some love. I cut the slits for the new gussets. Then I gave Thor and Loki some pets. I sewed in the new added gussets. Then I cut new gusset slits in the lining and outer fabric layers. I repeated the entire construction process on the lining and outer fabric layers. Ironing. Hated, but necessary. I pinned the lining pieces together, then I sewed them. On to the outer fabric layer. Pinning. Sewing. Here's when I realized I sewed some pieces in backwards. Ugh. Seam ripping time! I fixed the mistake and then ironed the seams open, including the seam allowance on the side seam gusset opening. I pinned in those side seam gussets. And Lucius helped me sew in the gussets. Next, I added the straps to all of the layers. I sewed them and trimmed the seam allowances. Finally, I started pinning all 3 layers together with Hercules' supervision, of course. The outer and the lining right sides together, and the interlining under the lining. I sewed all 3 layers together along the center back openings. I trimmed seam allowances and turned it right side out. Next, I pinned the layers together at the top and bottom edges. Then I basted them all together. The instructions recommend basting by hand. My next step was to create a pocket for the wooden busk. My busk is a tad short, but it's okay. Next, out of focus, I stitched in the ditch on all of the seams, then created boning channels on either side of those seams. Hercules and I top stitched as close to the back opening as possible. There will be a boning channel on either side of the eyelets. I inserted the boning. I didn't have enough synthetic whalebone, so I used steel boning that was the perfect length. I marked my eyelet placement, used an awl to make eyelet holes, and sewed my eyelets by hand with heavy-duty thread. My next step was to pin bias tape around the top and bottom edges. Lucius and Thor wanted attention at this point. I sewed the bias binding on the outside. Bad kitty, furring my fabric. Then I turned the binding to the inside and whip stitched it in place by hand. I kept poking my left-hand thumb, so I tried a thimble on it too. I tried it on, and it's Okay, so I've tried it on, and the fit is okay. The only problem I have, well, I have a couple of problems. So my problems are the strap is really far over and it just won't stay up. It just wants to fall. And then it's not particularly, it's very late, particularly flattering in the bust. It just kind of smashes. So I added 2 extra bones on between each of the bust gussets, and these bust gussets seem awfully small. I cut out the C-cup bust gussets, and yeah, they just seem very small. And then I also made another eyelet for the strap to attach to, because I thought maybe moving it over a little bit would help it stay on better. But honestly, if it was gonna stay on really well, I'd have to move it like between the bust gussets. So that's that. I think also the extra boning here will help a little bit with the fit. I need a little bit more support. I think if I had interlined in canvas instead of twill, it would have been better. As far as, I don't think I may have still needed to add the extra bones, but it would have had a little bit better support, I think. It would have been a little more firm, I guess, is what I'm saying. So, because I don't want to lace this super tight, I want it to be as comfortable as possible. But all of my, as far as this mock-up goes, that is all I'm going to do. I did add, after I got it all together, I took out some stitches here on the inside and the front. The inside is a bit of a mess. And I added a drawstring, or two strings to each side, and I tacked them down inside the binding, and so just on the ends. And so then I left a little opening in the binding for them to come through, and so I can pull the bust in a little bit, and I think that's going to help as well with the look. So there. Yeah, it's done as far as that's all I plan on doing to it for this mock-up, and I think it will be a wearable mock-up. It's not perfect. It's not perfect in any way, but for something that should do what it's meant to do, I think it is fine, and I have learned quite a bit making this. At least, you know, the Regency silhouette, Thor's not happy. The Regency silhouette I think can look good on anyone, but I definitely think the undergarments play a big role in that. So I haven't finished my new Regency dress yet, and I'm excited to try this on, to use this with that dress. But I'm going to try it with my old dress that I made, that's Regency, that I use a Laughing Moon pattern for that. And I just used some thrifted sheets. So I didn't have quite enough sheet to make it as full as I wanted. But I'll try it. I'll try it with that dress anyway and see if it makes a difference in the way it looks. So that's that. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you spending your time with me. I hope you enjoyed this project. As I said, I learned a lot while I was making it. There are definitely things that I would change if I make this pattern again, and I probably will make this pattern again because I really like the idea of a Regency corset or Regency stays. But you know, I don't know if the long line stays are what I need. I think maybe I need the shorter stays. I don't know. I have a pattern for those from Red Threaded, so maybe I will try that too and see how they compare to each other. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and comment down below and tell me what you liked about the video, or if you have any questions for me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that. If you'd like to support the channel further, I have a Ko-fi account and that is linked down below. Thanks again, and please stay tuned for next week's Regency project. It is a bodice petticoat, and I'm excited to share that with you as well. So please join me next week, and I will see you again on our next sewing adventure. Bye!